What is up, good people? I'm Derek, and today we're going to be covering 3 different techniques on dodge and burn. You definitely want to be doing this if you are looking at improving your photography. The first one we're going to do is just a little bit of contouring to create a bit of shape in here, and it really makes a big difference. The second image we're going to do is to create a little bit of interest towards your subject. So what we're actually doing here is a global dodge and burn. On the last one, we're going to be doing it to correct skin tones. So not only can you use this along with frequency separation, you can use this as a skin retouching method. Great, let's start in the beginning. So this one is a little bit weird. So most people don't do this. It works, it doesn't work, up to you. So what I would do in this one here is create a new layer, go to my brush, change it to white, and put my flow pretty low, around about 5. Alright, so what you're going to do now is you're going to paint on all your highlights. So all you're going to do is just paint it on. It's going to look weird because it's just a white mask. It's actually just white paint, it's not even a white mask. Go on all the light areas, a little bit there, like this, there. And don't be too worried about not being 100% precise. I'm going to show you a cool little trick that helps. So got it. Let's work on these lips a little bit. Let's clean that up. There we go. Add a little bit of interest here, interest there, interest there, interest there. Done that. Awesome. I like it. So here's where the cool part comes in. So we go here and we change that layer to soft light, and all of a sudden you've got it as a highlight. But I do feel that's a little bit too far, so we can just bring it back about to say there-ish. And now here's where I want to show you why it doesn't matter if you're precise or not. Double click on your layer and you get this cool thing here. It's called blend if. So blend if works like this. This is your shadows, this is your highlights, and this is your midtones. And you can start pulling whatever you've done to this current layer away or out of your image. So by doing this, holding Alt and dragging away, start taking it out of the highlights, which we don't really want to do, but we want to take it out of the shadows. So come this side, whoopsie, there we go. Start pulling it out and you'll see it starts to disappear and come back. So find a nice happy medium here. We only really want it in the highlights. Check the difference, much better. Awesome. Pull it back a tiny bit more. We've overdone it there. And then we do the same for the shadows, or the burning actually. So we go over to the black, but I don't really like using black. The reason why is we don't have black in natural people's skin tone. So what I do is I sample a dark color from the person, which looks like that, and we can open up a palette, and I will go and then take it a little bit down in luminosity and then desaturate it a whole lot. So we've still got a dark color, but it's closer to the natural skin tone. It stays in the oranges. Then we go and we do the same thing. We brush it in, brush it in. Let's darken this makeup a little bit. That, let's darken this up here. And you got to put it all over your shadows, create a little bit of shape. There we go. A little bit of shape in his mouth. This is probably one of my least used methods. I'm not too fond of it, but for the purpose of the tutorial, we are going to show you anyway. A little bit of emphasis here. And then same thing, bring it over, soft light. And as usual, we like to overdo things, so let's pull it right back. And about there-ish. That works for me. Alright, we can group these two and we can call that dodge and burn. Awesome. And now look at the difference. No dodge and burn, dodge and burn. We've started creating shape. The more you do, the better it gets. Spend time in your dodge and burn, it really reflects in your images. Over to image number 2. So I just want to throw in a quick history lesson here where dodge and burn comes from. So in the days of film, you would add more light and retract more light for exposure when you would expose your prints, obviously. And by dodging, you used to put a medium between the enlarger and the print, and that would then give it less light. And because it was a color negative film, less light meant brighter images or brighter light, and vice versa. So when you burned, you cleared away and you only lit the part that you wanted more bright or with higher luminosity. So that's where the dodge and burn comes from, if anyone had any interest in that whatsoever. So let's start. Let's reset our brushes. In this method, what I do is create a 50% gray layer. So you can come to this icon here, create new layer, hold Alt and you hit it, and then it will give you that, and then you can call this dodge and burn. Then your mode would be soft light, fill with 50% gray. And now whatever you do here in black would burn, and anything you do in white would dodge. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start creating a little bit of depth in this environment. So I want to, all these dark parts I want to just make a little bit darker. So we're going to go there, flow a little bit low, so down about 3%. 3%. Still with my brush, I'm only brushing lightly over these. And we keep going, keep going. I will be putting a link to these images in the description, so you can grab them and try this yourself, or you can do this on your own images. Works exactly the same. Nothing really to it. You just keep going, keep going. Pretty much got the top wall. Okay, now I want to come down here to these little frames, create a little bit more depth in them. Interesting fact, your eye perceives lighter colors as closer and darker colors as further away. And with photos, you're working in a two-dimensional scene, so everything is literally the same place. But as you dodge and burn, you start to get a bit more depth into your images. And this is why it's crucial to learn dodge and burn and really spend your time doing it. Like I said before, the more time you spend, the better your image becomes. Obviously you want to know the difference when you've done right and done too much. Let's take a look. I'm almost done with this. There we go. Almost covered it all. I'm not happy with this spot right here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to burn that as well, just so it blends in with the rest of the floor. Don't distract too much. Awesome. That's your burning done. Let's bring out some highlights here. So all you want to do is paint on your bright spots, just like this. Just want to bring the eye towards your subject, like this. There we go. A little bit brighter here. Awesome. Like it. Let's just take a quick look what's happened here. So from flat to a little bit of depth in there. You can still use the same method on her. So now we can just bring out the highlights a little bit on her. Bring it out a little bit more. This one, that one. Just brighten her hair up a little bit. Like that. And her leg's quite bright here. I'm not too in love with what's going on here. I would, if I had a chance, correct the colors to match a little bit better, but we can do that at a later stage. Then switch over back to black and we can start burning in the shadows, just ever so slightly, like this. Bring that in a little bit. It's two, not going to do much there. Just going to create a bit of depth in the hair too, just like this. There we go. Maybe want to just darken the shadows here. Liking it. So let's see if we can just bring down the luminosity of this leg a little bit. Really not loving the color here. It's quite a magenta shift. We'll fix that at a later stage. Let's see what's happened. Before dodge and burn, after dodge and burn, before dodge and burn, and after. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Awesome. Off to the third one. Let's see how we can use this to correct skin. This is the method that I use the most. Probably about the most time consuming, but definitely worth it. So what I do is create two curve layers like that. On my first one, oopsie, there we go. We just raise that a tiny, well, not really a tiny bit, but a fair amount, and invert that mask with a Control I or Command I if you're on Mac. And then on this layer, all we're going to do is the opposite. So we're going to pull it down a little bit and create a darker tone. Same thing, we're going to change that over and Control or Command I and convert that mask, or invert the mask, sorry. First one we call dodge, and the second one we call burn. So if you guys ever get confused on which is dodge and burn, burn is like when you burn something, it always gets blacker or darker. So that's how an easy way to remember it. I'd like to start with a little bit of a dodge here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my brush really small. I'm going to change my flow down to 1%. It's time consuming, but it's definitely worth it. So I want to zoom in and check all these differences here. I'm going to start slowly painting them. If you feel like you have a bit more control with your brush, you can up your flow. Be careful, because when you do, you tend to overdo it very quickly. I'm just going to keep doing this while I fast forward this and enjoy the little music. Alright, so you can see I've taken care of a lot of the shadows. There's still a fair bit left. I've only worked on here and it's taken me a few minutes. So it is very time consuming. So that's just the dodge. So as you can see, the variation now, because I've taken all the shadows out of these blemishes, they have highlights on them. So now I need to go and dodge all the highlights out. So like that, and like that. There, there. So I'd come over to my burn layer, and same thing as before. We go back to the problem area, and now you go find all the light spots. And you repeat the process, and you paint them a little bit darker. What you can do in a situation like this, or actually in any dodge and burn situation, is create yourself a help layer. So you can do that by going over to your adjustment panel, select black and white, and I saw this once. I don't really use it very often, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. So you find a filter with the most contrast in it. The blue filter, darker green filter, high contrast filter. It's a little bit too much. That's the red filter, infrared, lighter, maximum black, maximum white, neutral density, red filter, yellow filter, and custom. I quite like the blue filter, so we're going to go with that. I'd like to see a little bit more difference in here, so I'm just going to move my red and my yellow sliders. See, now it starts to show the differences in the tones. That's like that. Now we can go back to our burn layer, and we can now go and continue with our highlights. And I'm going to carry on going like this, and you guys can enjoy the music again. Alright, so I want to just show you the quick difference, guys. So what I've done is dodge and burn just pretty much this area here. It takes a little bit of time. Obviously this is one of those that the longer you spend perfecting it, the better results you get. So we're just looking at this little area here. This is the before, and that is after. It still needs a bit more polishing, like there and there, but this is just to show you what it is. You zoom in, the great thing is you lose no texture whatsoever. Probably show you here a better example of no loss in texture. Sorry guys. So like this little line here, go into our dodge, literally just fill it in with light. great thing about doing this is you lose very little texture in your image. So this technique in combination with frequency separation is very, very powerful tools. I'm not going to go on any further. I think we've got the point out. Guys, let me know which your favorite, or which one of these three are your favorite methods. Let's just show you the difference there quickly. See there. Transitions are much better. Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and then tell me your favorites, guys. Chat soon. Bye.